So Trump recently spoke at Davos, or WEF, the World Economic Forum, which we all know about, with Klaus Schwab, the guy that sounds like some villain from some terrible, terrible movie. You know, the folks who said, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Yeah, you guys remember this clip? You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. The folks who said, hey, live in a pod, eat bugs, for the rest of your life. Don't own anything. Yeah, he spoke there and absolutely owned them to their face. But before we get into that, yeah, these folks, man, these are not good people. Here's another example why.
I guess I'd just say we are finding ourselves in a place where we have increasing polarization everywhere, and everything feels binary when it doesn't need to be. So I think we're going to have to think about a recalibration of a whole range of human rights that are playing out online, from freedom of speech to the freedom to, to be free from online violence, or the right of data protection to the right to child. I guess
we're going to have to think about a whole set of human rights, from freedom of speech. And notice how she tried to cover it with freedom from online violence, whatever that means. Like, what is online violence? Last time I checked, violence is when someone physically does something to you. I don't consider somebody saying some words violence. But of course, that's how they try to cover it up. Remember, I said this. The way that they try to take more rights from us is they disguise it with, we're here to protect you. Right? We're here to keep you safe. Right? You just heard an example there. We're going to take away your freedom of speech because we want to keep you safe from online violence. Remember, you got to get the splooge put into your arm. Otherwise, you're going to have to stay at home, but it's to keep you safe. Otherwise, in other words, you do what we say or else you'll be punished. But that's what they always disguise it with. So, Thankfully, we have a guy like Trump back in office, because if you guys remember, and I've played this clip several times over the past year or so in different videos where it made sense, but this clip here is very, very telling, and I'm happy that we have Trump back in office.
Are you concerned that Trump might be elected again shortly?
I think it's very likely. And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order. And he says it openly. Now, again, it should be clear that many of these politicians, they present a false dichotomy, a false binary vision of the world, as if you have to choose between patriotism and globalism, between being loyal to your nation and being loyal to some kind of, global government or whatever.
You do have to choose. You're either loyal to your country or you're loyal to the globalist. What's your choice? Let me know. I'm loyal to this country. F everybody else. Okay? That's the way that I feel about it. But I also do want to play what Trump had to say at the World Economic Forum, because he actually didn't attend in person. He Zoom called in, which is also quite interesting. It shows that you don't have to meet in person, because a lot of these same folks are the same folks who, call for, the reduce of emissions, and they talk about the climate change and all of this other stuff. Meanwhile, they all hop on their private jets, which spew out so much crap, to fly to this place when all they have to do is just hop on Zoom. Simple. And by that, and by doing that, they're not polluting anything. So it's interesting that Trump intended this way, but check out what he had to say because he didn't pull any punches. Let's dive in.
My administration is acting with unprecedented speed to fix the disasters we've inherited from a totally inept group of people and to solve every single crisis facing our country. This begins with confronting the economic chaos caused by the failed policies of the last administration. Over the past 4 years, our government racked up $8 trillion in wasteful deficit spending and inflicted nation-wrecking energy restrictions, crippling regulations, and hidden taxes like never before. The result is the worst inflation crisis in modern history and sky-high interest rates for our citizens and even throughout the world. Food prices and the price of almost every other thing known to mankind went through the roof. President Biden totally lost control of what was going on in our country, but in particular with our high inflation economy and at our border. Because of these ruinous policies, total government spending this year is $1.5 trillion higher than was projected to occur when I left office just 4 years ago. Likewise, the cost of servicing the debt is more than 230% higher than was projected in 2020. The inflation rate we are inheriting remains 50% higher than the historic target. It was the highest inflation probably in the history of our country. That's why from the moment I took office, I've taken rapid action to reverse each and every one of these radical left policies that created this calamity, in particular with immigration, crime, and inflation. On day one, I signed an executive order directing every member of my cabinet to marshal all powers at their disposal to defeat inflation and reduce the cost of daily life. I imposed a federal hiring freeze, a federal regulation freeze, a foreign aid freeze, and I created the new Department of Government Efficiency. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam.
Yeah.
Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy.
Let's go.
I declared a national energy emergency, and that's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. My administration has also begun the largest deregulation campaign in history, far exceeding even the record-setting efforts of my last term. In total, the Biden administration imposed $50,000 in additional regulatory costs on the average American household over the last 4 years. I have promised to eliminate 10 old regulations for every new regulation, which will soon put many thousands of dollars back in the pockets of American families. To further unleash our economy, our majorities in the House and Senate, which we also took along with the presidency, are going to pass the largest tax cut in American history, including massive tax cuts for workers and family, and big tax cuts for domestic producers and manufacturers. And we're working with the Democrats on getting an extension of the original Trump tax cuts, as you probably know, by just reading any paper. My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth.
So yeah, you heard all of that. He also talked about saving freedom of speech, which obviously, from the clip that I showed you guys at the very beginning of this video, is something that the so-called world leaders, I put that in air quotations because I don't consider them leaders at all. It's something that they want to take away.
In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation. which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress. We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly.
Love to hear it. I love to hear it. Can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that at all. He also mentioned the EU and how he wants to make things a little more even between us. Check it out.
From the standpoint of America, the EU treats us very, very unfairly, very badly. They have a large tax that we know about, and a VAT tax, and it's a very substantial one. They don't take our essentially don't take our farm products, and they don't take our cars. Yet they send cars to us by the millions. They put tariffs on things that we want to do. Like, for instance, I think they actually, in terms of these are non-economic or non-monetary tariffs, and those are very bad, and they make it very difficult to bring products into Europe, and yet they expect to be selling, and they do sell their products in the United States. So we have, hundreds of billions of dollars of deficits with the EU, and nobody's happy with it, and we're going to do something about it, but nobody's happy with it. So I think the EU has to speed up their process. Friends of mine that are in some of the nations within the EU, great people, they want to be able to compete better, and you can't compete when you can't go through the approval process fast. There's no reason why it can't go faster. So, I'm trying to be constructive because I love Europe. I love the countries of Europe, but the process is a very cumbersome one. And they do treat the United States of America very, very unfairly with the VAT taxes and all of the other taxes they impose. One other, just to finish up, I got a call from the head of a major airline, one of the biggest airlines in the world, and he said, "Sir, could you help us? What? Landing in Europe is brutal. They charge us fees for everything, and it's so unfair." I said, "How does it compare to China?" He said, it's much worse. And the other thing, as you know, they took court cases with Apple, and they supposedly won a case that most people didn't think was much of a case. They won 15 or 16 billion from Apple. They won billions from Google. I think they're after Facebook for billions and billions. These are American companies, whether you like them or not. They're American companies, and they shouldn't be doing that. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a form of taxation. So we have some very big complaints with the EU.
Hey, listen, and I'm glad he added that little tidbit to what he had to say. He said, whether you like them or not, they're American companies, and I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Oh, you want to file judgments against these American companies for 15 billion here, 15 billion there, 12 billion there? Okay. Fine. We're going to get those billions back. Whether you like it or not, we're going to get those billions back. Anything that you send over here is going to be taxed to hell. I mean, we're going to get these billions back one way or another. So y'all can do this if you want to. By all means. Go. Have at it. But we're also going to go after your companies. And any products that you send over here, yeah. Good luck selling it. Good luck selling it. Cause listen, we got to start standing up, and Trump is most definitely doing that, and I love it. I love it. I love it. America is back, baby. Say what you want, but hey, listen, I would rather be at the top than at the bottom.
Other companies likewise have announced billions and billions and billions, adding up to trillions of investment in America, in the United States. And it's also reported today in the papers that Saudi Arabia will be investing at least $600 billion in America. But I'll be asking the Crown Prince, who's a fantastic guy, to round it out to around $1 trillion. I think they'll do that because we've been very good to them. Other companies likewise have.
Yeah. Hey, increase them investments, baby. Increase them investments. Spend a little bit more. Spend a little bit more. He also called out some of the banking executives, which some of them happened to be there. I think a couple of them actually on stage.
And by the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that he called them out to their face. And yeah, they might have chuckled, but they can chuckle now. But as we know, Trump is not someone who just issues empty statements. Trump stands on business. Okay? That is one thing that we have learned about Trump. What he says has some meaning. It has something behind it. When he says, hey, you're going to have hell to pay, people know, oh, he's serious. Like, he'll actually do it. Like, ain't no, oh, well, you know, I didn't actually mean it. You know, when Joe Biden and Kamala were asked, you know, what do you tell Hamas or whatever? I think it was Hamas. I think it had something to do with Hamas. About attacking Israel or something along those lines. It was something. They were like, don't. They didn't fear that word at all coming out of Biden and Kamala's mouth. They went and did it anyway. Trump, on the other hand, you're going to have hell to pay. A week later, problem solved. A week after Trump said that, oh, ceasefire. Hey, Trump's about to step back in office in like 2 days, bro. Nah, we don't want no smoke. We don't want no problems with you, boss. No problems. But that is because everyone knows that Trump means business. Okay. And a lot of times he's actually right, because if you remember one of the last times where Trump said something and people laughed at him, it was, I believe, the leaders of Germany, when he said, yo, y'all got to do something about your oil imports. You're importing a lot of your oil and natural gas. I think maybe it was natural gas. It was something. You're importing this from Russia. What happens when Russia says no, F you? You're going to be in trouble. And some of you probably remember that clip. A lot of the folks, I think it was Germany. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But some of the leaders in Germany like just laughed. They laughed amongst themselves. Like, this guy Trump, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Lo and behold, you fast forward a few years and Germany in a crisis. He was right, man. He was right. And he means business. So good to see. I love the fact that he zoomed in and told them to their face, all of this crap, this green new scam, this climate crap, this EV mandate. No. This censorship. Hell no. And you leaders from the EU, you better fall in line, or else you're gonna have some problems. Y'all big companies trying to censor my supporters, that ain't gonna happen. We're done with that. I love it. But as always, let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Thanks for tuning in. As always, peace and love. I'm out.